Another name getting interest today, Pete, you've seen is Netflix, right? Unusual activity. That's where you're always looking, and this is a Netflix call. Talk to me about it.
Well, Netflix definitely pretty aggressive buying, Scott, and it's really short term. They're looking just to this Friday, and they're buying very aggressively to the upside. Now, this is something that's been pretty interesting because since earnings, the stock's kind of been hanging around, call it the 420, 430 area. And so suddenly we start to see some buying today, and you can see them up on the screen that we've got some very nice buying, some size buying, and I like to see that because this is one of those names that when it hits, they seem to be more right than wrong. It's a name that I like anyway. It's another one of these stay-at-home type stocks, so I think Netflix makes a lot of sense why it might be able to start to make another move to the upside, like Apple, like Microsoft, like the group. I'll tell you what's really interesting, Scott, is how much we've seen in the semiconductor space just in general, and Taiwan Semi, one of the biggest, and so it's really interesting to see this one. This name does hit fair amount, but they're going all the way out to the last week in May. So May 29th, these are going to expire, and they're buying the 54 strike calls, paying about $1. Now, about 4,000 of those were bought today. I thought that was pretty interesting because we have seen Marvell, we've seen Intel, we've seen Micron, we've seen AMD, we've seen all these various names, Qualcomm, but we haven't seen as much of Taiwan Semi. So it was nice to see this name hit. I like what we're seeing here. I like these options enough that I'm a part of this as well. I like this as a possibility to move the upside. Stock was trading just over $52 a share when this was trading. So not a lot of expense, and you've got a little bit of time on your hands, more time than most, because you're going out now about 3 weeks, which these days is an eternity in this market. So that's pretty interesting. I got one other for you we just grabbed on top of.
Go ahead.
So Mattel. Now, Mattel, I don't think we've got a graphic for you, but Mattel trading just
We have an ugly-looking graphic
in
front of us. Don't worry.
Yes, I'm sure. But what they're doing is somebody's putting their flag in the ground because they're selling the 7.5 put, Scott, and they're selling 41,000 of these. So that's a pretty aggressive statement to say, you know what, if the stock goes lower, I'm willing to own this stock. Now, I haven't done anything here yet at all. I'm going to have to look at it after the show, but it's really nice to see that kind of size of a trade and somebody putting that, flag in the sand, say, hey, you know what? This is as far as I think this thing's going to go. And if it goes, I'll own it at these levels. So that's a pretty interesting trade to see right now.